elections completely failed the standards of a secure, transparent electronic voting system, and thereby yielded what has aptly been described by my colleagues as an unverifiable, inaccurate, and therefore invalid results. Our further submission in this regard is that the technology was so inherently corrupted, manipulated, and tainted that the results declared by Mr. Chebukati, the third respondent, cannot be, in an objective case, said to be representative of the true will of the Kenyan people, as we and as I will demonstrate in my further submissions. On the evidence, the components, principles that ought to have been met in order to meet the constitutional standard of a secure and transparent system are as follows. Confidentiality is the first one I propose to deal with. This requires that the information within the process, and I'm not talking about the public portal, talking about the back end, should have been accessed by only those legitimately authorized. And those authorized, in order for them to be accountable, are persons whom the entire commission, in its, as defined by my colleague Paul Mwangi, the entire commission ought to have been fully aware of, gazetted where necessary, and it would certainly help if they were also Kenyan nationals. Integrity is the information used should be accurate, complete, protected by various and protected from malicious modification, which includes alteration or obstruction, either by authorized or unauthorized persons. Availability. The information required must be available as and when required by those authorized to use or access it in compliance with the constitutional requirements and the Elections Act. Non-repudiation. An audit trail must be maintained on activities related to the information. An audit trail in this regard is, should the court so require, should a party so require, it must be readily available in the appropriate manner. Authenticity. The information itself must be proved to be genuine, and the source must also be proved to be genuine. I submit on behalf of the petitioners that on the security aspect, there was lack of security. The first instance of that demonstrates this is the operation and use of the IBC and availability to, I repeat that again. The first is operation and use of IBC election materials and equipment to identified unauthorized persons. And I'm referring in this regard to the now infamous Venezuelan nationals. I will elaborate on that in a few seconds. The second is the penetration by way of hacking and illegally granted access of the IBC system by known and unknown persons. I distinguish between hacking and unauthorized grant of access. Hacking is where a person outside the system doesn't have the key, and I'm using the simple illustration, and so he accesses it through the roof, a room through the roof or the back door, and he enters the system. The illegal grant of access is a situation where the codes, the credentials that are otherwise legitimate are granted to unknown persons. In the case